We already know that The Marvels has had a catastrophic first box office weekend. It's so bad that people are now worried about the future of Marvel. We also probably know that the second weekend is on track to be, well, worse. But something else is happening. Marvel Studios, Marvel Entertainment, is working on making their content more juvenile. What was up with the Young Avengers suddenly making a big play in the Marvels movie? What was up with cats eating people for comic effect using tentacle mouths and all of that utter nonsense? Well, it turns out that Marvel has a reason for doing that. Marvel has a huge problem on the horizon, one that could destroy their entertainment endeavors for the future. And today, we're going to reveal it. Strap in, folks. Let's get to it right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. It is the job that we have been given here, and it is the job that we love doing. We hope you love it as well, and if you do, click that like button. Let's dive in today with IndieWire, this by Brian Welk, and today we are going to explain to you that Marvel has a massive problem. Young people no longer care about Marvel, and they cannot figure out how to change it. Does Marvel have a Gen Z problem? Just 19% of the Marvel's audience was 18 to 24. 40% was the number for Captain Marvel just a few years ago. Matt Ramos, 22, was just 7 years old when the original Iron Man hit theaters. He was not the target audience for the film, nor was his Gen Z responsible for making Marvel and the MCU a cultural and box office behemoth. I'm here to tell you, folks, that no generation is responsible for that. Geniuses in Disney were responsible for it. But like the Young Avengers teased in the Marvels, Gen Z are the ones who will make or break the next decade of the MCU. Folks, as we read this article, remember that we also reported here on the channel that women did not support the Marvels. Less than 40% of the first weekend domestic box office attendance came from women. Despite what the mainstream media tells you, despite what they say, and in spite of the spite they hold for men. It turns out that men did their best to lift the Marvels to success, but alas, men could not do it on their own. Women did not care. It's going to mean a lot more as we read this article. Today, Ramos has more than 3 million TikTok followers, influence of passion, fan base consisting primarily of 16 to 24-year-olds. For Ramos and his peers, Marvel fandom is alive and well. Let's skip to the actual stats, though. Here's what it says. And this is incredible if you want to understand why Marvel is doing what Marvel is doing, including probably bringing back the OG Avengers very soon because they need to relaunch. Listen to me say that again, folks. Marvel needs to relaunch. They did not do a very good job of ending Phase 3. They need a do-over. They need a Marvel mulligan. According to the tracking data for the film, just 19% of the opening weekend audience for the Marvels was between 18 and 24. 30% was 25 to 34. By comparison, 40% of the Captain Marvel audience back in 2019 was 18 to 24, according to data from a third-party source. Those figures suggest much of the key audience has already aged out. That is a sea change. But it gets worse. The ages for 13 to 17-year-olds accounted for only 8% of the viewers. Remember from the videos that we've done in the past where we have told you that the market share for Disney toys, specifically Marvel and Star Wars, have been shrinking dramatically, especially as we go into the holidays. That is what you're seeing, folks, when 13 to 17-year-olds, the prime audience for movies such as this, account for 8%. There are Marvel-specific problems as well, including the mishandling of the MCU television series by film execs. Talks about Jonathan Majors and the problems they have there. Here's what they've been trying to do to fix it. And this gets into that Young Avengers thing and some of the ludicrous, silly kind of things that they put in the movie. There are parts of the Marvels which are clearly created just to try to go viral on TikTok. And that's it. Kevin Feige has a lot to fix, but issues related to generational appeal are apparent in the Marvels, which includes nods to 90s groups, Nine Inch Nails and the Beastie Boys, while also featuring a song and dance sequence clearly aimed at the TikTok crowd, as is a separate scene flooded with kittens. And don't forget about that Bollywood that they attempted to do, the Bollywood musical planet scene, probably definitely just made to get onto social media. To court Gen Z, the Marvels had a partnership with YouTuber Lo-Fi Girl, and has been pumping TikTok with clips. A source told IndieWire that the Marvels had digital advertising at more than 100 malls in 28 markets, and trailers have run before Barbie and Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. And remember, they were hoping to catch the women who enjoyed Barbie and enjoyed Taylor Swift. They were hoping they would come out. They did not. And that is why the media has their misplaced ire at men. Women did not go. Let's dive into, though, the catastrophic failure of Marvel attempting to court young women. It also may be that this dip is just unique to the Marvels, not to the MCU as a whole. A broader look suggests Marvel has stayed pretty consistent for years. According to post-track data compiled by ComScore and Screen Engine, ASI, 24% of Marvel's audience for its 6 Phase 2 movies were ages 18 to 24. That grew to 30% for Phase 3, then again to 32% for Phase 4. And then it started slipping a bit before the Marvels to 29%. Why did it start to slip? This is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's not in this article, but it's very simple. It started to slip because a loss of quality. The older demographics that have watched Marvel movies for years and years, it's already built into them a pattern of going to see these and a brand loyalty. But young people don't have that because they haven't been going to see these for years and years and years, because they haven't been able to choose their movies for years and years and years. And some of them haven't been alive for years and years and years and years. So that is why you're seeing the decline increasingly in the young people. At the same time, the 25 to 34 crowd has risen steadily from 18% to 24%. But folks, what we're talking about here is a shrinking pie, and that shrinking pie has a bigger slice of it going to the 25 to 34 crowd. Don't mistake that for being a bigger, larger, more major, significant portion of the 25-34 crowd nationally going to see these movies. No. It's just that all the other slices are getting smaller and smaller. And, well, so is 25 to 34, but proportionately, they're going more than the others. The overall under 25 demo has steadily ticked down to 47%, and over 25 has risen to 53%. Female moviegoers, no matter what age, have stayed pretty consistent across each phase. And that's a real problem. Remember, folks, that Phase 4 and 5 was supposed to grow that demographic. That's the whole reason that they did this. We can get into the ideologies. We can get into Kevin Feige and his beliefs, the worldviews of Victoria Alonso. But ultimately, the pitch was to the investors, to the board, we're going to grow that female demographic. The Force is female. That was what Star Wars attempted, and Marvel did the same. It has not budged the needle. Men under 25 were 33% of the audience in Phase 2, but Phase 5's 2 films had an audience of just 28% men under 25. Women have stayed the same. Now, what does that mean? Let's go back up here to the top. Here's what that means, ladies and gentlemen. If we take a look at the percentages here, the Marvels was between 18 and 24, 19%. Remember that, 19% of the demographic, 18 to 24, went to see the Marvels. Far less for 13 to 17, only 8%. Now, if women across all of these various demographics, these different age groups, account for something like 38% of that group, then here is the catastrophic problem that the Marvels has and the MCU. If we look at the 13 to 17 group at 8%, that would mean that teenage girls only accounted for about 3% of total Marvel's moviegoers in the first weekend. Let me say it again. This is absolutely the thing that the media should be talking about nonstop in every article, but they do not yet subscribe here and follow this information well enough. They'll learn better, folks. They'll learn better. Hang tight. You're the electricity that drives this, of course, and they're taking notice. But they don't know that this is the narrative that is truthful. 3%, thereabouts, of the first weekend came from teenage girls. And on top of that, then, if only 19% was the 18 to 24 crowd, then that would put it at about 7% women out of that group. Now you put those together and what do you get? Women 24 and under total, according to the data that we have here out of IndieWire. Women 24 and under made up 10% of the audience for a movie that was aimed specifically at them. And that is the catastrophic failure of this attempt. Marvel has failed to create the kind of fervor that Barbie did. Marvel has failed to create the sort of excitement that other female films have somehow managed to catch wind of. The superhero genre seems like it is not open to an easy path towards switching to a female demographic, considering 10% of the women this movie was made for were the audience. 10%. Yes, a larger percentage of that total audience is indeed women, about 38%. And that means that men continue to see these films even as the men are hated. It's a wacky world we live in when movies are aimed at the people who don't want to go watch them, don't care about seeing them, and the demographic that does is treated as if they are absolute garbage. But that is the mirage that Marvel and Star Wars and Disney have been chasing. Folks, we hope you enjoyed this video today. What a massive piece of information you have learned, as we have all found out that the Marvels didn't just fail with women, it failed with young people. That's why the MCU is flailing, trying to find any way it can to grab a hold of those TikTokers, as the clock is tick-tocking down on them. All right, folks, that's a wrap. If you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think? Are young people just turned away from the MCU? What could bring them back? And what could save Marvel and save the men who are being disparaged over and over again? Remember, the Pro Show is live Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And a major, massive announcement is coming out Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time here on this channel as we prepare to transform pop culture coverage. Tongue twister. We think the mainstream media will pay attention to this one for sure. We'll see you Monday at 4 p.m., if not before. All right, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Make sure to catch The Pro Show Thursdays 5 to 7 Eastern Time. Entertainment Explained, The Culture Curve Conquered, live with Pro and all his friends.
No, hey Florel, what you doing? Thinking about Rome?
No, I wasn't. But thanks. Now I lost the game.
Dang it. Now I lost the game. No. Well, now you're a double loser.
Hey guys, you know what would help you in your grief? Forgetting those things and filling your mind with articles from thatpartplace.com and using that website as a launching pad to get you lost in thought with all of the team from there.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, Flora, would you look down here?
I hate you.